Hello, I am Enrique Barra, and in this video we are going to see the Redux introduction. Well, in the first place, just see what is a pure function. A pure function is a function that only operates with the arguments and nothing external, nothing random, no side effects. Okay, so for example, this is a pure function, very simple one that only operates with A and B. Okay, there is no side effects. With the same input, they always get the same output. They are very easy to test. Okay, so we will use a lot of these kind of functions. And the second concept, before starting with Redux, is a reducer, reduce. This comes from the MapReduce programming model and is a method of the array prototype in JavaScript, or is a method of array in general. It's a method that gets a function that is called a reducer. Okay? The reducer only takes the previous output and the next value of the array and will return the next output. So with the accumulator, the previous output, and the next item, we do some calculations and we create the next output. For example, to count the characters of all the words in an array, we have this array, apple, banana, and cherry, and we reduce it. How is the reducer function? As an arrow function this, or a traditional function this one. It gets the accumulator and the next item, and it will return the accumulator plus the next item dot length. So it will be accumulating the number of letters or words or characters in the array. Well, Redux will use a lot these two concepts. So Redux is just a library that implements the flux pattern that Facebook proposed, but will introduce this reducer concept. Okay? Redux is defined as a predictable state container for JavaScript apps, for client applications. It is framework independent. It doesn't have to go with React or any specific framework. Also, it combines very good with React. It is a very small library, just 2 kilobytes, and the API is only 5 functions. It has 3 main principles. The first one, a single source of truth. The state is just in one JavaScript object, okay, in one store. What does it imply? Well, you can store that state in the server, for example, very easily. When you have a spaghetti code application, you have to get a state from here, from there, from many places, and you have to send it maybe even in several post messages to the server. But now we have everything in the same place, and that is the single source of truth, a JavaScript object that indicates our application state. If I save it and I recover it and I restate it, well, everything will be like when I save it. It will also make me very easy to undo and redo. Well, if I go to the previous state or to the next one, I can go forward and backward. Perfect. This state is read-only. We only modify the state emitting actions, because if not, we will have multiple components, all of them modifying this object. No, that's not a good idea. Redux fosters this one-way data binding, as Flux proposes, and will modify only the state through actions. Okay, so everything will be very predictable and also very easy to test. And finally, these changes are made with pure functions that are reducers. These reducers will take the state and the action and will emit the next state, will return the next state. So they are just exactly as reducers, as I said you before. Next state, previous state plus the action is like we saw with the accumulator and the item. and will return the next state. Perfect. For example, in an application where we have an app component, a header, a board, and a square, we have this one-way data flow in React, and we have this event data flow that go from child to parent to parent. Perfect. That's one-way data binding. That's good just with React, but not, this doesn't use Redux. That's good enough, but we have this event flow and the logic will be in the app component. But remember that React is just the view layer. What happens if we introduce Redux? Well, the data flow is the same, but in this case, the square directly can dispatch an action to modify the state, and all the logic will be in Redux, and all the state will be in Redux. And when something changes, it will emit new props that will come to the app, that will send them to the header, board, and square as props. So this will be the flow. Now, the logic is in Redux, and the square can call directly to Redux, as well as the server can emit an action to Redux. And when something changes in the state, we have new props. Okay, so the thing changes from this kind of architecture with React to this one. Also remember that this is just with React, but Redux is framework agnostic, so it can be integrated with any kind of framework or architecture. Okay, I leave you here some links to bibliography and resources, and thank you very much, and see you in the next video.